I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Mary Beth.
Welcome to Turning Pages. Mary Beth, what are we going to discuss today?
We're a week late, but we are going to talk about banned books because I think it's an important topic, and I don't think it's something that should be swept under the rug.
No, and I think there's a little bit of confusion about what that actually means and where that stigma might come from. Mm-hmm. There are many reasons that a book would be banned.
Or challenged, as they sometimes call it. They challenge it, and then you see if it comes on the banned book list.
Right, and if you look at any of the various websites devoted to this topic, you'll find that many of the books that you've read in high school that are currently on high school curriculums have been at one time banned or are still in some areas.
Ones that are considered classics.
Right. So, of course, that goes for modern books like Looking for Alaska, which is frequently challenged by John Green.
Right.
And even something like Twilight, Hunger Games, very popular series have or are currently challenged.
One that a lot of people might not realize was challenged was the whole Harry Potter series in the earlier years when it came out, citing occult and satanic reasons. I'm not really, I guess the witchcraft
elements,
magic element, people thought,
Well, and again, it kind of comes down to some categories. Now, we have been discussing this a little, and we really noticed that things like homosexuality or any expression of sexuality can at times by different audiences seem offensive or
inappropriate for the age group.
Right. And I think, if you look at what authors do, right? We talk about things that are uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. We talk about things that maybe society is not in the mainstream conversation about.
Things that are real.
Yeah. What it means to be human and the challenges that we face. Those are the things that make a great story, and that's what authors focus on. So any segment of society at any moment can be offended by something.
And we know how people today are offended
by everything. I'm sure if you stick around long enough, you're going to offend enough people in any area. And I like to look at the banned list for books that I want to read.
As a child, I was a voracious reader, so my parents pretty much let me go. There wasn't really a young adult section. It was like Babysitter's Club and
Sweet Valley High.
And once I was done with that at age 11 or 12, I had to move into the adult section. So I read a lot of Jackie Collins and Stephen King. The only book that I was told never to read was Flowers in the Attic. And of course I found a copy, because that's about as rebellious as I was as a teen.
That is a crazy one, though.
Think of teens today. You tell them not to do something, and they're gonna go and do it, most likely.
And certainly the parent is in control of the environment and should have a good beat on or understanding of how cognitively advanced or mature their child is and what they can and cannot. But I find that teenagers today know and talk about and experience at a much more rapid rate than we did. I was still playing with Barbies, when I was 12 or 13, and so, or My Little Ponies, as it were. And one of the books that I read, which interestingly enough, I'm going to see Judy Blume give a talk, so I'll talk about that. And she wrote, "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret," which for me, when I was reading, I was like, ooh, this is, what's going on here?
And I forbidden topic.
Felt like I was doing something wrong, even though I wasn't. And that's kind of the taboo, I think, often associated with these stories, that they open up or expose conversations that maybe aren't happening. And that's a great thing.
And I think that a lot of it can be left up to the parent, because if you're monitoring the kind of video games your kids plays, the kind of movies they play, why not books too? One person shouldn't say, this age group shouldn't read this book.
Right.
It should be a parent saying, I don't think my child is mature enough to understand what this book is talking about, and shelf it until they're older.
And keep the lines of communication open. Read what your kids are reading so you can talk to them about it. Not in a creepy, stalker, too much helicopter mom kind of way.
No.
But, I know a lot of my students read with their parents, and their parents will have conversations about the literature. Those are the kids who are going to develop a greater sense of empathy. They're going to be curious about the world and topics that, they could maybe ultimately one day use in a career. And I think if you're reading what they're reading, then you're seeing the world how they're seeing the world. You can have deeper, more meaningful
right.
conversation.
And I think a lot of parents might find, I don't know what my kids are talking about these days. I don't know what to talk to them about. So if you're reading the same kind of books, at least you have conversation starters. If you're reading Crank by Ellen Hopkins, which is
challenged,
right? It is challenged. A lot of it has to do with drugs. So maybe you talk to your kid. Do you know anybody that does this, or do you know what drugs really can do to you? It's a way for you to bring up some of those topics that
right.
you might not otherwise feel the opportunity to, where your kid's really going to listen to what you have to say. If you can relate it to the book, oh, that character, I can't believe she did
right.
that. I hope you don't know anybody where you can go pick that up from, or anybody who's suffering. So I think it's beneficial for the parent to read the book and then be able to have those open conversations with their teen.
Right. You're not going to stop them from learning about the world, but
right.
you can guide them to how they react to what they find out, because the information is everywhere. The internet, news channels, in the hallways,
right.
So we just kind of wanted to talk about it because I think, the tendency is to be like, ooh, and be afraid. And, if
right.
something's banned or challenged, if you tell somebody not to do something, like Mary Beth said, that's going to make them more eager to figure out a way to do it. So, again, just monitor.
Do you have a favorite banned book that you would offer?
All of them. Well, I'm gonna read. Say it.
Oh, this would be mine. The Absolutely True Story of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. I think it is a fantastic book, especially for your teen boys to read. It talks about there's racism. They talk about masturbation. There's language, and those are things that your teenage boys are
interested in,
right, or going through or dealing with.
Right.
So I think it's a really great book that should be on school curriculums if it's not.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it, and then we'll probably talk about it. Maybe we'll do a little more in-depth discussion of some of the banned books. But thanks for joining us. We'd love to know what your favorite banned books are, or challenge books.
Right.
And how do you feel about them?
Right. What's your take on them? Should somebody be allowed to say, no, kids shouldn't be able to read this? There's been discussion about putting ratings on your books like movies, which I hate that idea. Mm-hmm. So, let us know what you think in the comments below.
And thanks for watching.
Until next time, literati, keep
Bye.
turning those pages. Bye-bye.